Hi, dear viewers. I'm Arti Bhalerao. I'm the Chief Dietitian for MomStory. And today I'm here on this segment on how to eat healthy and cut down on your portion sizes. प्रिय दर्शकों, आज हम फिर हमारे कमिटमेंट को लेकर आए हैं कि हम आपको कुछ स्वास्थ्य संबंधित सिंपल टिप्स देंगे जिससे आप आपके पोर्शन साइजेस पर कंट्रोल ला पाओगे। तो आज का सेगमेंट हम उन सभी के लिए हैं जिनको लगता है मुझे अपनी भूख कंट्रोल करना या पोर्शन साइजेस कंट्रोल करना बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है। हम सभी को एक योग्य वेट पर रहना बहुत अच्छा लगता है, रादर वो हमारा सपना होता है। Everybody of us wants to be on the right BMI and the right weight. Of course, there are challenges. Whatever you eat is going to translate into your body. So let us now cut down and understand how wisely we implement these strategies to see to it that we are on the right weight. Now, just to increase your curiosity, let me tell you, आज के सेशन के बाद even if we cut down on our calories by 100 calories a day, अगर हम अपने दिन भर के आहार में 100 कैलोरीज भी कम करते हैं और ऐसा हम हर दिन करते हैं फॉर 365 डेज, दैट्स अ ईयर, साल भर में आप 36,500 कैलोरीज लेस खाओगे। अब इसका क्या सिग्निफिकेंस है? अगर आप उतने लेस कैलोरीज खाओगे, द अमाउंट ऑफ वेट लॉस जो आप एफर्टलेसली लोगे दैट इज गोइंग टू बी 5 kgs, विच इज़ गुड एंड ह्यूज एंड एक्साइटिंग। अगर आप इसको डबल करते हो, it's going to be 200 calories less to your dietary intake, which will translate to 10 kgs of weight. So I'm sure, the thought of it also makes you happy. So let us now explore how do we really go about it. So today we are going to explore 10 different tips which you can implement when you're eating at office, when you're eating at home, when you're eating outside, which will be definitely useful. Let's now start with it. Let's go to the tip number 1. So, important है समझना सर्विंग साइज और पोर्शन साइज को। सर्विंग साइज होती हैं जैसे आप कभी you've ordered for a burger, you've ordered for a fries, or you've taken a packet of biscuits. Now that will give you the serving, okay? And it is going to be portioned out. So every individual's portion is going to be different. It's not necessary for us to have whatever is served. Now this typically would relate whenever we are hoteling. So always understand what is the portion size. Now if there are packet foods, like to give you an example, I've just got a packet of multigrain biscuits. Now the entire packet is 200 grams. So these are usually a part of your tea, evening tea, morning tea. So if you read the label carefully, it will tell you the serving size. Now that serving size will also signify the recommended dietary allowance. We'll not complicate it, it's the portion size in which you are allowed to eat. Now if you see, out of the 200 grams of packet that you have, the everyday allowance given to you or the serving size or the portion that you should be having at one meal is going to be only one biscuit. Okay, so it's there on the label. My tip to you, tip number 1 is whenever you're eating any packaged food, it's important that you also read what is the recommended serving size and stick to those portion sizes. So that will be wiser to cut down on your extra calories, however healthy food that you're eating, and sometimes whatever preferred foods that you're eating. It's always better that you opt for healthy foods whenever you're consuming. Now what is our tip number 2? Tip number 2 is going to be portion out your food well. Okay, so now these are handy things. So this, just don't focus on the print of it. It's a fairy, and I am sure all the ladies watching it, everybody, whatever age, they love fairies. But that's not the point. The point is that whenever you have a portioned out. If you see a plate, now this is very good and ideal for teaching your kids also. Now half of the plate is going to be your vegetables. Okay, 1/4 should be again your protein and your carbohydrate, the remaining portion. So when you are having these things, it helps them to educate them well, and it helps them to consume your food into a very disciplined manner. Okay, what is the tip number 3? So the tip number 3 is a little more exciting. So what makes us remind of the red color that you see? Some may say it's love, some may say it's anger. So now the intent over here is to tell you that whenever you have those foods which you know you're not able to control, portion out in red colored footwear, because red is also a significance for danger. So if you're eating in those, you automatically are alarmed about the portion sizes that you need to consume. So a very creative way, I know these items might not be available, the crockery might not be available always, लेकिन जब भी possible हो तो एक थोड़ा सा रेड कलर का क्रॉकरी ले आएं, ताकि जब भी आप आपका फेवरेट फूड खा रहे हो वो रिमाइंड करे आपको सही पोर्शन साइज में आपको उन चीज़ों को लेना है. Now it's the time for tip number 4. So always see to it that you're taking a smaller plate. Now there are researches to evidence that जब आप एक छोटी प्लेट में खाना खाते हो आपका डाइटरी इंटेक ऑटोमेटिकली कम होता है. तो जब भी आप ऑफिस मीटिंग्स में हो, आपका प्रोफाइल ऐसा है जहाँ पर आपको कई बार बाहर खाना होता है, यू ईटिंग एट अ बुफे, इट्स ऑलवेज एडवाइजेबल टेक अ स्मॉल क्वार्टर प्लेट and then portion out your meals, whether it is your rice, roti, whatever you want to take, your proteins, always portion out in this. So if you see, just to make you compare and visible, if you see the amount of food that can be contained into a quarter plate is much less as compared to a dinner plate. ओके तो आप देखोगे ऑटोमेटिकली साइकोलॉजिकली ऑल्सो यू विल स्टार्ट स्टिकिंग टू स्मॉलर पोर्शन साइजेस. इट्स ऑलवेज बेटर इफ यू आर हंग्री यू कैन गो फॉर अनदर पोर्शन एक्सचेंज, बट इट इज़ मोर लाइकली दैट you start feeling full with eating this plate itself, and then you have a bigger plate. So always be aware, because the bigger the plate, the more is the dietary intake or the inclusion into your plate, and then it becomes a compulsion to have it compulsory when you have it into your plate. Then comes the tip number 5. So always, whenever you are eating, make 4 portions of your stomach. First part should always be fluid. So it's a very good idea, which is our tip number 5, to have a bowl of soup. तो जब भी आप खाना खाएं और आप चाहते हैं आप अच्छे से पोर्शन साइज कंट्रोल करें, आपका खाना मिनिमम एक बाउल ऑफ सूप से चालू करें, फिर आप प्रोटीन खाएं, उसके बाद आप कार्बोहाइड्रेट खाएंगे. Our tip number 6 says, have certain measurement items ready at hand. हर बार हम एक वेइंग मशीन लेकर नहीं चल सकते ताकि हम गिन कर उसको कैलकुलेट करें, मगर ये कुछ ईजिली ready-made, the shops around you, you will find these certain items which you can easily use to know your portion sizes. अब ये जो होता है measuring cups होते हैं, let us understand हम दिन भर में हमारा डाइट इंटेक इसमें कैसे मेजर करें. तो सबसे पहले जो ऑयल, घी, बटर, क्रीम होता है, या फिर different types of fats whatever we include, not more than 3 teaspoons of it. ये 1 चम्मच 5 ग्राम का होता है. तो हम जब ऐड करते हैं फूड, मान लो आप 2 जनों का खाना बना रहे हो, सो इट इज़ बेटर दैट यू मेजर दिस एंड ऐड सो दैट यू आर मोर अप्रोप्रिएट विद द फैट इनटेक ऑफ इट. सो नेवरदलेस इट्स ऑलवेज बेटर कि कभी भी जब आप खाना बना रहे हो, इंस्ट्रक्ट योर मेड टू मेजर इट एंड ऐड, वर्सेस डायरेक्टली एडिंग फ्रॉम द ऑयल पॉट wherein you don't get an idea how much is the fat. So this is about the fat. Now इसी चम्मच से आप शुगर को मेजर करोगे. आपका डेली शुगर इनटेक शुड बी लाइक 1 teaspoon ऑफ दिस, विच इज़ सेफर. सो दिस डजंट अप्लाई टू पेशेंट्स हु आर डायबिटिक, GDM, शुगर की तकलीफ जिनको है. सो दिस इज़ फॉर नॉर्मल पॉपुलेशन, नॉट मोर देन 1 to 2 teaspoons ऑफ शुगर इन द एंटायर डे. नेक्स्ट होता है कि अब हम कैसे मेजर करें कि हमारा nuts or seeds, they are healthy, but yes, they too have to be eaten in the right portion sizes. तो जो हम nuts खाते हैं, जैसे almonds, walnuts हैं, pistachios हैं, pecan nuts हैं, so all of this इस portion size में दिन भर में हम ले सकते हैं. Approximately 1/4 of the cup you can have your nuts and seeds in the entire day. फिर आते हैं हमारा डेली इंटेक ऑफ वेजिटेबल्स कितना हो. आपका डेली इंटेक ऑफ वेजिटेबल्स जो होगा, एटलीस्ट 2 bowls of dals this size have to be there. Again, your vegetable portion has to be 2 to 3 portion sizes of this vegetable, which is going to give you good amount of vegetable fiber intake. So you can go up to 3 to 5 bowls of it. Then is going to be your salad intake. So your salad intake at least has to be 2 bowls of it, and this you can use for your fruit intake also. इतना बाउल भर के फ्रूट डेफिनेटली आप ले सकते हो. So this covers our tip number 6. Now let's go to our next tip. So this again in continuation, we have got different spoons. हम हर दिन ये यूज़ करते हैं घर में, तो ये जो स्पून है, so this if you are going to measure the rice, approximately healthy exchange for a person who does not have any comorbidity is 1 ladle of this. Okay, vegetables 2 ladles of this. When it is your protein pulse, 3 ladles of it. 2 to 3 ladles should be good enough. This is not the टाइप ऑफ ऑयल के लिए चम्मच आप इस्तेमाल करोगे. ये एक चम्मच हमें 15 ग्राम्स देता है. सो नट्स इफ यू सी 1 to 1.5 teaspoons ऑफ इट. ये जो है दैट इज़ अ टी स्पून. सो 3 teaspoons of this for fat or 1 teaspoon of it for your sugar content. So just to keep you more reminded, how do you manage your portion sizes into your daily habits, whatever is available at home. Now that takes us to the next step. So in the next step, let us understand how do we control the portion sizes of our beverages. So just to exemplify, कई सारे cups आज हमारे पास available है. आप अगर देखोगे दिन ब दिन हमारा जो portion है beverages का वो बदलते जा रहा है. पहले हमारे cup का size था ये, which was a very small cup around 120 to 150 ml. Now that was replaced by a bigger cup which around would go to 180 to 200 ml, and then our coffees were replaced with this jar which is more than 250 ml. If you see the amount of juice that you consume, again this glass is what it is. Now let us understand how much and why. जो भी आपके बेवरेजेस है अगर वो कैफीन बेस्ड है, टैनिन बेस्ड है, तो वो आपके माइक्रोन्यूट्रिएंट को तो यूटिलाइज नहीं करने देते. दे इंटरफियर विद द एब्जॉर्प्शन ऑफ दीज माइक्रोन्यूट्रिएंट्स. सेकेंड एडिशनल फैक्टर टू इट इज जितना बड़ा आपका एक्सचेंज है उतना आपका शुगर कंजम्पशन बढ़ता है. अगर आप देखोगे इस कप भर चाय को मीठी बनाने के लिए, पैलेटेबल बनाने के लिए मैक्स टू मैक्स 1 to 1 1/4 टीस्पून ऑफ शुगर इस्तेमाल होगा. मगर जब ये कंजम्पशन बढ़ता है टू दिस कप, योर शुगर ऑल्सो गेट्स कंज्यूम्ड ऑलमोस्ट डबल, which is 2 to 3 teaspoons. If you have to have a coffee in this cup, you will be utilizing around 2 to 3 teaspoons of sugar. So once you are having your beverages in the right containers into smaller portion sizes, it drastically automatically helps you to cut down on your sugar intake. Now this, once you've set it, it goes into an automatic habit. So whenever you're taking your beverages, see to it what is the healthy beverage that I can drink. If inevitable, go for small portion sizes, go for small containers, go for sugar-free ones, so that it really, every step of it, like I said, even an exclusion of 100 calories a day is going to make you lose 5 kgs of weight at the end of the year. So then this finishes and then we go to the next step. Before that, the amount of juice that you consume should be just 1/4 of this glass. If possible, it's always advisable that you have more whole fruits with the edible skin washed in a proper manner for the maximum benefit of the fruit. Our next step says that whenever you have beverages accompanying your food, they have to be most healthiest as possible. It can be a soup, it can be a healthy drink, or if you want, you can replace right now your Cokes with a normal glass of water. It helps you to drastically cut down on your sugars. So now with this, let's go to the next step. What does our next step says? Whenever you're eating, now this is just an example. So do not eat from the packet. Whenever you're trying to munch, it has to be healthiest. जब भी आप munch करना चाहें, there are so many healthy options जो आप खा सकते हो. Vegetables को creative shapes में खाकर आप खा सकते हो. Boiled corns, boiled vegetables, sauteed vegetables are also more healthier and tastier options to opt जब आपको meal के टाइम के बीच में वो जो छोटी छोटी भूख लगती है. लेकिन हमारी जो टिप कहती है कि आप जब भी कोई पैकेट खाएं जहाँ पर आप स्नैक कर रहे हो, सबसे पहले तो उसको जितना हेल्दी ऑप्ट कर पाए करें. अगर आपको वही खाना है तो नेवर ईट फ्रॉम अ पैकेट, क्योंकि क्या हो जाता है आपका कंजम्पशन कितना हो रहा है वो आपको दिखता नहीं है. इस वजह से आपका उन चीज़ों का इंटेक बढ़ जाता है. सो व्हाट इज़ वाइजर? इट्स वाइजर दैट यू टेक अ स्मॉल बाउल एंड टेक आउट योर फेवरेट फूड्स इनटू इट एंड देन यू कंज्यूम. सो जब आप उसको निकालते हो तो आप देखते हो कि आपको विजिबल कंट्रोल बहुत अच्छा आता है. सो दिस फिनिशेस आर स्मॉल टिप्स एवरी डे जो आप इस्तेमाल करें और उससे आप आपके हेल्थ गोल के और करीब जा सकते हो. I would like to thank all the viewers for joining us. सभी दर्शकों को थैंक यू है कि उन्होंने हमें इस सेगमेंट में ज्वाइन किया. We again commit that we'll come back with another exciting session for you to keep on track with your health. Thank you so much.